Andre Cruz here, and on behalf of the Fitness League, I want to thank you for making our winter weightlifting throwdown a huge success. We had a blast, and we hope you did too. While you're here, I want to remind you to follow us on Instagram at the Fitness League, friend us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube page, you're watching it right now, and don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on iTunes. Now, without further ado, it's time to see how good you look lifting with color commentary from me. Cruise control. Dave, so let's start with your setup. Your feet are relatively wide, which is going to make jumping into your squat a little bit more challenging for you. If you start with your feet a little bit more narrow, you're going to be a lot more powerful off the floor. But you do a nice job of shoving the knees out, get good extension here, and drop under it with good speed. But you let the bar crash down on you a little bit, which is why you kind of waver forward a little bit. Once again, if your feet were a little more narrow in the beginning, would have made jumping out into the squat position a little bit easier. And on your second one, same thing, legs are a bit wide, comes crashing down, but you save it. And your third one, I think, was your best lift. Did a nice job of sticking it, but still jumped forward a bit. So for your clean and jerk, we got the same issue with the setup. Feet are a little bit wide. They're not too terrible here, but they could be a little more narrow to produce a little bit more power. So the takeoff is good. Your torso stays nice and vertical. Shove the knees out. Good hip opening there. Would have liked to have seen you push your butt back a little bit more to absorb that impact and swoop the elbows forward a little more aggressively to catch it on the shoulders, but not too bad. Just like your setup on the clean or the snatch, if your feet are a little bit more narrow, you can produce a little bit more power on your jump, but not bad here. But I'd like to see that back knee bend a little bit more to absorb that impact, especially when the weight gets a little bit heavier. But not bad for the first lift. Same thing on the second lift. Could start with the legs a little bit closer together, but not bad. A little bit slow on the elbows. On that jerk, that back leg barely moved at all, but you're a strong guy, so you got it up there. Now on the third one, I think this is where the wide legs comes to bite you in the butt. If your feet were a bit more narrow, they might have been in a little more powerful of a position to help you jump that bar up. And the slow elbows come to bite you a little bit too here. Also, instead of sitting back in your heels and catching it in a squat, your legs go out wide, so it makes it really hard to catch that barbell. Overall, I think you did a really nice job. If you just remember on your setup to start with your feet in a more narrow position, remember, under your hips is a lot more powerful in terms of jumping. That's both the same in your takeoff for your clean, for a snatch, for a deadlift, and also when you're going into your jerk. Just really trust your legs. Remember to get under it. Also, when you're receiving your clean, to do the same thing. Push your butt back, absorb the impact with your hips instead of putting all that flexion on your knees. Overall, nice job.